So before I forget, fellas, we've had some very varied answers. Do you set New Year's resolutions? Have you kept to them on day 27? Start with Matthew first.
So far, yes. I didn't really set too many resolutions, so it wasn't too hard for me.
Are you going to give us a clue what they were?
What's that?
What were they?
Oh, one was to write a handwritten letter every month. So I got that out of the way in the first week. So I'm good until Feb. And the other one was just kind of reaching out more to guys that like hit me up on like fan page and social media and stuff, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job with that as well.
Who are you writing your letters to? Can people apply to get a letter from you, or is it family or what?
Could be anyone. I started with thank you cards from obviously Christmas gifts the previous month, and so I went with the family and friends the first month, so we'll see.
Paul, New Year's resolution.
Main goal is just keep staying humble, you know. Keep staying humble, keep staying thirsty, you know, and don't lose any race this year. Don't lose any race. I'm tired of losing, so I gotta win all the races.
And Clayton.
I actually didn't set any New Year's resolutions this year. For some reason, just didn't do it, so it's pretty easy to stick to having no resolutions.
You're sticking with it. Let's stick with you. This is an intriguing clash from two guys on neutral territory, but the 5,000 metre runner finds the 3,000 as a natural habitat. What's your thinking behind stepping up two distances for tomorrow?
It's kind of the plan we always had. We wanted to step up for the first one, the coach and I, and this kind of fell in our lap as having an opening 3,000. So didn't want to really race a mile early, so the 3,000 was where we fell, and training's been going good. I've always ran cross country at Akron for the last 3 years, so wasn't a big difference to train for a 3,000 for me. So just keep the strength work up, and hopefully that extends the season longer like it has in the past. So.
And what constitutes success for you at 3,000 metres indoors? The time or the win or the place? What are you looking for out of tomorrow?
I think just sticking with them. For me, it's not really sure on the time. I haven't really raced a fast 3,000 ever. I've been in some sit and kick and some training 3,000. So for me, it's just sticking my nose in there and seeing what happens. And if a win's a win, then and if a time comes, but just kind of sticking my nose in there and see what happens.
Have you got a historic indoor PB for this?
8:20, but that was
should be all right for it.
Yeah, should go down hopefully.
Okay, Paul, I want to ask you about Rio, because there was a whole welter of disqualifications throughout Rio. They were using Hawkeye equipment, the mechanism seemed to, we would see in the sport, and I think we saw you live on air being disqualified and then being reinstated. What was that like for you? Can you recall that, or is it all a bit of a blur?
Yeah, Rio was my moment, you know. That was, it was so heartbreaking when I had that, you know. After seeing my teammate, Centrowitz, winning gold, you know, that was one of my motivating factors, you know. I saw him cheering and I was watching the race before I started my race, and I went out there and tried to do my best, and that was my moment, you know. It was, I didn't want my moment, like that was the best moment. I didn't want to just see it going away, you know, because whatever I was doing in training was blood, sweat and tears, you know. I worked so hard to get where I was, and it only took like about 13 minutes for what I've worked for, like for a long time, to be taken away from me. So I just didn't want to let that happen, and I was ready to fight and get back to my position, you know, get back my silver medal. And that was my first Olympics, and that was my first silver medal like in the Olympics. So I'm happy about it, and I'm looking forward for the best, you know.
And now that you feel the pressure, the expectation on you to see off those that are stepping up a distance tomorrow? Are you looking for a win or a time, or both?
I'm looking for time, good times, you know. You know, like they always say, when the lion goes to its own habitat, you know, you can't go in there and like mess with the lion, you know. So I'm just telling Clayton tomorrow, you coming to my own zone, you know. You coming to my own home, you know. You just don't come there expecting it's gonna be a big fight, you know. So I'm just gonna try and make it hard for him. But when I go to the 800, I'm gonna respect him. So.
Do you know, we had the women up on stage and they were talking about fun and training together. We've already had the lion. Don't come into me dead. You've certainly spiced things up for these last few ticket sales there, Paul. Let's turn to Matthew. Was your year perfect? It looked pretty good to begin with World Indoors and then Olympic title, or were there the usual sort of ups and downs when you look back on it?
I mean, definitely was very satisfied, obviously, with the year, and accomplished just about everything I wanted to, that I set out to. The only thing I could think of that would make it probably perfect would be, obviously, had stayed healthy early on in the season and allowed me to race, pre-classic and some faster races and, lower my personal best. But at the start of the year, the main goals were obviously the Olympics and the World Indoor Championships, with a PR being the third most important on that list. So definitely ticked off 1 and 2, and I have the next few years to be able to get my personal best down to hopefully under the American record and faster. So yeah, it was almost a perfect year.
Is this the year when you start chasing times, or does London 2017 feature?
Yeah, I think even with Olympics, you could always chase fast times that year. It's just the only thing with last year with Rio being almost in the same time zone as where we were in Park City training. It didn't make sense for me to go over to Europe and run a lot of those Diamond League races, and then obviously after the Olympics, there's such a big letdown from gearing up for that, and I just didn't feel like I was ready for a fast time after. So this year with the World Championships being in London and a lot of Diamond League races before and after London, I think that allows myself and my team to get over to Europe early, go after a lot of those fast races before and after the World Championships. So I think, yeah, this year, not only having sights on London, but definitely sights on running fast, and it will allow us to.
And has your life changed since you became Olympic gold medalist? We saw you at the Orioles, I think, and crossing over into other areas of life beyond track and field. And also within your training group, has that just brought you level with the likes of Galen and Mo and people like that have had success previously? How does it work?
Well, they always give me they gave me a hard time a lot, and on the team they always like to pick on me, being like the younger guy, and so right after Olympics, I think they put up like an Instagram post of Mo and Galen going golfing, and I wrote on there about thanks for the invite, guys, and Alberto said you have to be a multiple Olympic medalist to get that invite. So obviously the jabs are still being thrown my way, but obviously I enjoy that and handle it well. But yeah, nothing's really changed too much. Other than maybe getting stopped in the store, or like yesterday, for instance, at Trader Joe's, a couple guys came up to me, took some selfies and stuff like that. Just maybe being a little more recognized more often out in public. But other than that, everything's pretty much the same, which I'm very happy with. Everything obviously moving forward. I didn't want to change too much since everything was kind of working out all right. So.
And you had a good block of training pre-Christmas tomorrow?
Yeah. I've been relatively healthy and just kind of excited to get the season going. Opened up with a 3K a couple weeks ago, a little bit faster than last year. So no specific times really tomorrow, but just kind of get in there, compete, and yeah, pretty much come out with the win and whatever the time is, and just kind of get this year going.
Questions from you, yeah, Jonathan.
Some PRs, run a few longer distances this year. I'm wondering, has your training changed at all from previous years because of that? And if so, how does your mileage compare to the last few years?
Training has changed a little bit, not too much. I probably would say I've done maybe a handful of longer workouts, such as more mile repeats and a little bit longer tempos. But other than that, the mileage is the same. A lot of the same stable workouts that we do throughout the fall and winter. And yeah, there's definitely some sights on a possible 5K early outdoor season. And last year I did a few 3Ks indoors and continue to do that with the 2 miles in Milrosa a couple weeks from now. So continue doing longer distance stuff and continue training like a 3K, 5K guy until we start sharpening up more for the mile stuff.
And is the mileage the same as it was last year?
Yeah.
Congratulations on Rio. So here's my question about your Rio race. It looked to me like you're using all your experience from running indoors, kind of controlling everybody. Did you know when people are trying to move on you over that last 400 or 500 meters in Rio?
Yeah, definitely. You can always feel someone kind of come up on you or running on your shoulder, and a lot of the times too, you're kind of running on the outside of lane 1 and just kind of like using your peripheral vision to see if someone's coming up on you. But certainly at the bell, when a greeter tried to come around me, I felt him and figured once I held him off, I had probably a good 100 meters to hold that position until someone else would come up, and Kipper up tried on the backstretch, and then I didn't really feel anyone until probably McLuffy last 20, 30 meters. So certainly felt people coming up, and just like anyone else, like Mo in the lead, you just do kind of the bare minimum to hold them off. You obviously don't want to show all your cards that far out, and so yeah, just kind of pretty much just wanted to beat everyone to the pole. Had the pole position, beat them to the corner, so make it more difficult for them to go around me.
Did you sense that Nick Willis was close to you?
No, not at all. Probably the whole race, the only people I knew that were up there was when Ben Blankenship came up alongside me early on, maybe around the halfway point, a greeter at the bell, and then I didn't even know that was Kipper up, I think, with 200 to go. I think those are the only two guys, really. I just kind of knew someone was on there, but I didn't know anyone who, like, exactly was. I mean, I wasn't, like, turning over and like, staring at him, just felt someone on there. And, yeah, just was thinking, just kind of hold him off.
Chris, mentally, you talked about training-wise earlier. Mentally, does your outlook change a little bit? Racing strategy, or
Does the what change a little bit?
your mentality heading into the race?
No, I don't think my mentality changes any bit than it did last year. I think for me, everyone's different. You know, just kind of gotta play to your strengths, and my strength is my strength, I think. And I think having these longer races, such as a 3K and maybe possibly a 5K, kind of makes that 1500, that mile, feel a little bit shorter, a little bit easier for me versus going down in distance and running something a little bit faster. I think for me to be able to run under 3:30, it's just more like being able to grind that pace in these Diamond League races, and being able to do that is what these 3K and 5Ks will help me do. So the mentality is kind of the same, especially with training and racing, I think, moving forward.
Matthew, are you going to hold your dad to the bet? And if you do you get to pick what he gets a tattoo of?
Yeah. So I guess for those that don't know, my dad just randomly came up to me after the trials. I think it was over the phone though, but he just said, "If you get a medal at the Olympics, I'll get a tattoo." Because he wasn't really for my tattoo at first, and then kind of grew on him a little bit. But he said, "You get a tattoo if I got a medal, and then depending on the color of the medal, the more say I have." So I never even put that on him. I was like, okay, like sure, whatever. There's nothing obviously nothing to lose here. And right after the Olympics, like that was like pretty much the hottest topic, and still to this day, he's still getting calls. I think Lewis Johnson called him, I guess, a couple of days ago and asked him about it. He called me up and he's like, "Dude, my head is spinning. I don't know if people still remember this." And so yeah, he's gonna have to go through with it. Maybe NBC will get a video of it, and I think I've settled on getting the Christ the Redeemer on his shoulder, on his deltoid maybe, and maybe we'll both get the same ones, but we'll see. But yeah, he's kind of been lagging a little bit because I don't think he realized that people will still remember it, and now that the pressure's coming on him, he'll definitely go through with it.
Yeah. Tattoo of Lady Gaga all the way across his back. Walt.
People would have predicted the Olympic outcome for any one of you. What were you thinking about this time last year? In terms of your
Start this end, Clayton.
I mean, at this time last year, I just ran my first 3K of the indoor season in Akron, Jersey. So for me, it was getting ready for NCAA indoors at this time of the year, and I was taking it one step at a time. Last season, obviously the goal was to make the Olympic team for me, but along the way I had NCAA indoors, NCAA outdoors, conference team championships. So my mentality was a lot different than these two guys sitting next to me. But I'm sure making the team was a goal we all three had to have to even compete at the Olympics. So for me, it was getting ready for NCAA indoors, and that ultimately meant getting ready to make a team. So my mentality is probably a lot different, a lot simpler than what theirs were.
For me, 2 years ago, I didn't make the World Championships team. I think I remember I was 11th place, you know, and that was, it was so heartbreaking. And before the trials, and I was the last guy to get into the World Championship trials 2 years ago. So I think for me it's just a matter of improvement. You know, I didn't expect to be where I was, but I was working hard just to make the Olympic team. That was my main goal, you know. So after I made the Olympic team, I saw there was a shot at getting a medal, you know, at the Olympics, because one of my key things is consistency. Once I stay consistent, anything can happen out there. So the only thing that I'm working on now is just keep staying consistency and just see where I can get and do my best. So yeah.
This time last year, I was probably thinking about the World Indoor Championships, kind of like Clayton, a little more near future than out in the summer. And then the second thing I was thinking about was just kind of staying healthy. Remembering about 4 years ago, I had a really good indoor season, and then about the first or second week on break in March or maybe even early April, I had to get knee surgery, banged my knee, I couldn't run, and so Definitely not take anything for granted. You know, you could have a stellar indoor season, everything can be going great, and you know, within the span of days or weeks, things can kind of turn on you. So I just kind of was focused more on the present, just worrying about the indoor season, knowing that if I take care of the indoor season, build my confidence up, that'll help me obviously for later on in the summer. So.
Clayton, you've had success at both the 800 and 1500. I'm wondering, are you planning on focusing on one distance or the other outdoors, and if so, which one?
So that's got to be the most asked question to me by everybody, including my own parents and girlfriend. Everybody asks me that question. And I think right now it's kind of taking the simpler approach and taking it one race at a time. For indoor, for instance, it's 3,000 here and in the mile at Melrose. So it's one step at a time, one race at a time. Training for me is pretty similar for most of the year. So it could be a decision that comes down to the last minute for me. So discussion with coach and I and see what comes out and see how training pans out. But for me, it's going to be chasing maybe both outside of USA's. But when it comes to USA's, it's probably going to be a decision. So we'll see when it comes there.
Clayton, Rio, over that last 150 meters, and you looked pretty smooth. What was going through your head as you were passing athletes in the final?
It probably was just keep passing them and just to hope to get in a medal position. But once I passed Pierre Boss, it became hopefully no one passes me at that point. I didn't think I had enough track to catch McLuffy. And at that point, it just became just keep going strong, see everybody who was behind me. I had no clue what the time was. I know we were fast. But after 200 meters, I zoned everything out and just started racing. And so to this day, I've only rewatched it once. And to me, it's just, I just treasure that moment and just treasure that last lap. So again, it was probably just down to the last 100 meters when I passed Boston and said, just don't let anybody else pass you.
Clayton, you must be approaching this season a little bit differently because the number of races that you have for the indoor season is a little different now that you're not running for your college team. Has that changed your training, your focus at all?
It's been kind of nice, actually. The team's already had 2 races, and my teammates former teammates are currently on a bus right now to Penn State to race. So they would have had 3 races before I had 1, and for me, that's kind of nice to be able to relax and not have to compete as much. It's a little bit of a change, but it's something Coach and I talked about, and we've been trying to mimic it a little bit as far as hard workouts and circling them around that. And we don't want to just drop from a collegiate season to a professional season just like that. So we're making a transition this year for sure, and that's been implied in our training and maybe our competition schedule come outdoor. But it is a little nicer not have to compete as much for sure.
Does your training feel like a job or something you'd really like to do?
Yeah, my training is, I would say like my main job is being a soldier, soldier in the U.S. Army. So, so I just take each day as a privilege, It's never my right to go out there and train and get all those mileage in. So I just, it's been up and down, Sometimes I don't get to train as I expected to train because here and there we have to travel all around the United States and do T-sets. T-sets is a mission, like a military mission, and it's a requirement. So sometimes it's just a bit hard on our side, but it's something I have to do. It's something that I chose to do, and it's a sacrifice, and it's a way of giving back to the United States. This is a country that I grew up in. I grew up in Kenya, moved here, and they paid for my scholarship for 4 years. It's something I can't take for granted, and after the Olympics, just holding that flag was just the amazing thing in my life, and it's something I can't take for granted. So it's something that I signed up for, Training, running is just part of it. But my main goal is, my main job is just being a soldier in the army and do all the requirements.
Paul, there's a wonderful picture of you with about 100 meters.
Just experience, That's why every other day I'm trying to stay close to my Centrowitz so that it can give me these cool tactics, So I'm just learning every other day because at the Olympics, I barely made the team, and at the Olympic trials. And then when I got to the Olympics, I just didn't want to make any other move. I didn't want to make any early move, and I just wanted to stay there and just be at the striking distance, but not be so close. But I think that costed me a lot, and I was far away when I made the move, and it's something that I learned from it. And it's next year. I mean, this year I'm hoping to fix it and hope for the best.
So it's Jonathan and then the guy here, and then that may have to be.
Last year you accomplished the goal of every runner, you won Olympic gold. I'm wondering, was it any harder this year than normal to have motivation to start training again? You know, what drives you now that you've accomplished the ultimate goal?
Definitely it wasn't like hard to find motivation. I found it to be hard to get kind of the training in when you have all these other obligations to do, like appearances and so forth, and obviously a lot more distractions now, like invitations to come do this and do that, and so for me it was just harder to kind of say no to a lot of those things. But certainly, yeah, resuming training, I mean that's what I love to do at the end of the day. And you know, I even got some questions from people that obviously didn't know much about running, but back home we're like, are you going to retire now? You know, and it's just like, you know, I still enjoy doing this. It's not about because I accomplished, you know, the #1 goal that I set out to do when I started running. It's more like I enjoy this, and so yeah, resuming hard training and setting goals for myself was not the hard part. I think it was just kind of blocking out those outside distractions and getting back to what I enjoy doing.
And real quick, can I get a Super Bowl pick from all you guys since we're in Boston? Patriots are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard for me to say this because normally I would like pull for the Falcons in this position, but I'm actually going for the Patriots for other reasons that I won't disclose right now, but I hope the Patriots win.
Okay. You guys?
I'm not a big football guy. I'm used to soccer. I watch soccer a lot. So when you tell, I mean, actually the first time when I got to States, you know, they told me like they need a football referee. You know, I showed up. You know, and first thing they told me was, do you know what a snap is? I was like. And I was so quick doing it because I thought like, man, that's an easy question, you know. So I mean, always when you go to an interview, you know, you answer like simple questions real quick. So when they told me what a snap is, they told me to turn around and we don't want to see your back, leave, you know, because they thought I was playing, but I was serious, you know. So football has been, I mean, I've tried to learn football, and I can say I just prefer soccer than football. So I usually spend most of my, sometimes when I have free time, I play PS4. I play FIFA all day with Diego Estrada. You know, Diego Estrada gives me a hard time. So I play a lot of FIFA than I'm not a big football guy.
Are you an Arsenal fan?
No, Manchester United. No, Arsenal.
Clayton?
I'm not really a Patriots fan, so it's kind of easy for me to take Matt Ryan and the Falcons, and it's a little bit of bragging rights for me because I took Matt Ryan in the 5th round of my fantasy draft, and people kind of made fun of me, like, why would you take Matt Ryan, and obviously ended up playing off pretty well for me. So for me, it's taking the Falcons, and my agent Paul's a little bit of a Patriots fan, so maybe it's a little bit just against his bragging rights too. So hopefully the Falcons win, but we'll see.
Did you win your fantasy league?
Actually made the playoffs. We had 16 guys, and 4 of us made the playoffs, and the top 2 guys who had lost combined 3 games, which included me, we lost in the first round of playoffs. So if that tells you anything about fantasy football, it doesn't always go your way.
Last question, yeah.
I was wondering, all 3 of you, if you had any advice for aspiring high school track athletes who look up to you guys and your achievements?
I would say to be patient, I guess, with high schoolers. I know it's probably now almost a decade since I graduated high school, even though it seems like it was yesterday, but back when I was in high school, I wanted everything now, and, you know, in terms of the times and do these kind of workouts. And luckily I had really good guidance. I had a really good high school coach. I had my dad in my corner, and they kind of were able to put a leash on a lot of the things, and kind of left me wanting more. And so I would just tell a high schooler to underdo it than overdo it. If you come at a crossroads and don't know what to do, and you could make a career out of this, and you have plenty of years to build on that. So I'll just say be patient with anything, training, racing, and when in doubt, just do less than do more.
I'll take a little bit different approach. As far as like the racing mentality, in high school for me, the competition wasn't great. I came from a very small area, so I think 420 like made my state meet, which in California people laugh at me or any other state. So I was a very small school, and for me, I learned how to compete and really just how to race the competition. And I think that's a big part of it. I mean, if you look at Matt's race in the 1500, that was experience, tacticals, and he didn't learn that in practice. You can't learn that. It's experience in racing. So I think in high school, it's really learning how to race and how to compete, and then step out of your comfort zone and race other events. That was the biggest thing I did. I raced everything from the 100 to the 2 miles. So have fun with it, find what you love, and find that race and fall in love with it, and just learn how to do it.
Yeah, I would say it's the big thing. I would say is just train smart. You know, don't go out there and do like crazy training. Don't do all those like a lot of mileage. If you do too much mileage, in future it's gonna be junk mileage. You know, just train smart. And I'm a good example. You know, I never ran in high school. Trust me on that. I started running in 2010. So it's just a matter of like how you handle it and how you train. Because I believe when you're young, when you train too hard, it's gonna affect you in future. You know, so it's just a matter of being consistent. Just train consistent and don't be too thirsty. You know, just train consistent. And I feel like what I've realized is there's an age. When you get to a certain age, you get matured, and you can train well, and you can focus well. You can train without being injured. And I think when you get to 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, around that age, that's when you are really on your peak. So when you're in high school, it's just a matter of build-up. So I mean, that's what I think.